Hello world, Shelly here, and today I've got another Friday foundation fix where you can get your fix of foundation reviews in between foundation fests. And today I am going to take a look at the highly requested brand new launch from Fenty Beauty by Rihanna. Yay! This is the Pro Filt'r Soft Matte Longwear Foundation. I've got this in the shade number 170, which is described as being for light-toned, cool undertoned skin. Now, let's get into some of the details with this foundation. I'm on Sephora's website, which is exclusively where you can get it, so you cannot get this at Ulta, and this foundation retails for $34. You get 1.08 ounces of product, which is just a smidgen more than the typical 1 fluid ounce that you get. The groundbreaking thing about this foundation is that it launched with 40 different shades, which is just phenomenal, and there are rumors that there are more shades to come. So you should absolutely be able to find yourself a good match in this line. In fact, the one that I'm choosing is like 7 up from the lightest shade. Now, granted, this might be a little too dark for me because typically I'm in the fair category, but I have watched some reviews on this foundation, and ThaTaylaa had looked at 120 and thought that that was going to be a little too light for her, and she is a whole entire shade lighter than me, so I just picked the next cool toned one up. All the others were warm undertone. I can't do a warm undertone in most cases, so I picked up shade 170, and we are going to try this out. Now, if you are new to my channel, welcome. Thanks for coming by. I am 42 years old. I've got obviously fair skin, but it is very dry. I have very dry skin. I've got some fine lines and some sunspots to cover up, so I'm getting into that maturing skin category. And we're going to see if I can pull this off. It is a matte foundation. Matte foundations don't typically work very well on me because they tend to be more drying and more designed for oilier skin. I basically don't produce any oil. You will see I've got a couple breakouts going on. I recently started a new diet. I'm about a week into a low-carb ketogenic diet, and every time that I drastically change my eating style, I break out. So that is happening, has nothing to do with the makeup that I've been wearing. Let's take a look at what this foundation promises. So it claims to be a buildable medium to full coverage foundation. On Sephora's website, they describe it as being suitable for sensitive, normal, dry, combo, and oily skin. So everybody. It's a matte finish, soft matte long wear. This is a cruelty-free foundation. It's described as the ultimate photo filter in foundation form. I love makeup that's like Photoshop for your face. Born in 40 boundary-breaking shades, Pro Filt'r Soft Matte Longwear Foundation gives skin an instantly smooth, pore diffused, shine-free finish that easily builds to medium or full coverage. The oil-free formula is made with climate-adaptive technology that's resistant to sweat and humidity and won't clog pores, so that wherever you are, it's going to work on your skin. Best of all, this long-wearing, light-as-air texture is undetectable on skin, so you always look like you. It has no parabens, it has no phthalates. I mentioned it is cruelty-free, so that is what we are starting out with. Now, let's take a look at this foundation swatched against some other foundations on the paler end of the spectrum in my collection that are in this price range. All right, let's do some swatches. I have given these a few minutes to dry down because according to the Fenty Beauty website, the true color of the foundation won't be visible until it dries down. So gave it a few minutes, and first up we've got today's foundation, the Fenty Beauty in shade 170. Second foundation here is the MAC Studio Sculpt in shade NW15. That is their cool toned in 15. Third up, I've got the Kat Von D Lock-It Foundation in Light 44 Cool. Fourth, I've got the Estee Lauder Stay in Place Double Wear in shade 1C1 Cool Bone. And the last foundation is the new Too Faced Peach Perfect in shade Porcelain. All right, headband is on. Let's get this party started. Now, I know you're not going to be able to see it because it's going to be cut off on the camera, but I have bug ears. Everybody's got the kitty cats. I have a bug. I'm a bug. Okay, I'm a bug. All right, I have already cleansed, moisturized, and sunscreened my face, and I am taking one extra step, and that is to use the Bobbi Brown Vitamin Enriched Face Base, and this is just like a super duper moisturizer because my goal here is to get this foundation to work. I know I have dry skin. I know that matte foundations are typically drying. I don't want this foundation to fail. I want it to work. So now, while I'm not going to say everybody should run out and get this stuff because it's super pricey, like as Catherine Lights would say, das expensive. Don't bother going out to go get it. I just have it. I like it, and I'm going to use it. I have also primed with my usual Urban Decay Urban Defense. Now, if you caught my review comparing this to the new e.l.f. Beauty Shield SPF 50 primer, you know that I'm probably not going to repurchase this because the e.l.f. works really well on me and I actually like the finish a lot better under my makeup. However, I have a ton of experience with this primer, and for a review purpose, I want to go with things that I am very certain I know work for my skin. So the e.l.f. is working great, but I've only got a month or so of use or experience with it. So I'm going to stick with the one that I know because I know how this performs and I know how it impacts different foundations, and that way we've got as many constants here as possible. As usual, I'm going to go in on one side of my face with a sponge. This is the Real Techniques Miracle Complexion Sponge. The other side I'll use a brush. This is just a crown paddle brush, like a dupe for the Artiste oval brushes. The packaging on this foundation is really, really nice. You've got a frosted glass bottle. You've got a pump. You know I love pumps. And it's just a very attractive packaging. Let's start out with my traditional 2 pumps. The instructions do say to shake well. I have shaken it very well. My antennas hit me in the forehead. Okay. Let's shake it up just to be sure. All right, 2 pumps. These are really small pumps. I'm going to go just a little bit more. That's really a very little amount of foundation. Pretty liquidy. I think I'm going to need more pumps than that, but we'll just start. Now, I have seen in reviews that this foundation tends to dry pretty quickly, so I'm going to go a little sort of bit by bit here. Let's start with the sponge. The other thing that's been said is that this foundation oxidizes, and Fenty Beauty on their website and on the Sephora page actually discuss that it's not oxidizing, that it has to dry down to get to its true color. So the color you see at first application is not necessarily the true color of the foundation. With the sponge in one coat, I'd say we are getting pretty light coverage, but it is a very, very pretty finish. It does not yet seem to be clinging to any dry patches. I think this might be a smidgen too dark for me, but you know, this is just the story of my life. I have not used up all of that, but almost all of it, so I am going to need a little bit more. So I'm going to put a couple more pumps on here, but it does seem that a little bit of product goes a long way, and this should be a good amount. But look at this. I don't know if I'm going to be able to tilt this up. Can you tell where... You're only going to be able to see it for a second when I tilt it. So you can see where the old foundation, the first pumps I did, are darker than the fresh pumps. Let me do it real quick. Can you see it? I don't know if you can tell. Because it's running already. But I can tell it does get darker right away. I think I am getting slightly better coverage with the brush. Not phenomenally different, really. And I think both sides look equally nice in terms of the finish. So I would say you can go either way, sponge or brush with this one. It looks equally nice on both sides for me. I'm going to see if I can build this up just a little bit because it says we can get medium to full coverage, and I'd say we're at like a high light coverage right now. So first impressions, this is a really pretty finish. It's a nice soft matte. It's not doing as much to blur my pores as I expected, considering that they included that in their description. It's not blurring texture very much, but it is not accentuating texture. It looks just a teeny bit dry around my mouth. It is accentuating some of the wrinkles around my mouth, and it looks a little bit dry in between my eyebrows going toward my forehead. It is settling just a little bit into my forehead lines and into my smile lines, but it doesn't look terribly dry. I think it did get a slight bit darker from when I immediately put it on. I did not pull it down my neck, and you can see just a bit the color difference there. The finish of it really reminds me of the Catrice HD, and if you saw Stephanie Nicole's review of this channel, she had noticed that it seems to have been made, this foundation, in the same factory as the Catrice foundation. Now, the Catrice only comes in 4 different shades, and you know, you're paying for the research and development to come up with 40 different shades, so it's not like they are potentially exact dupes, but even when you compare the ingredient list between the two, they're very, very similar. So I do plan to do a half and half face to see if the Catrice is a dupe for the Fenty foundation, but of course, if you can't find a match in those 4 shades on the Catrice side, then it doesn't matter how cheap it is because it won't work for you. But that is coming soon. I'm just as curious as you guys are, but so far, that is where we're at. Let me go put the rest of my face on. I will be right back, and the check-in time is 3:05, and holy cow, I have a lot of Snapchats to look at. So, let me go do my face. I'll be right back. Back, I had absolutely no trouble at all blending anything on top of this. This is one of those rare foundations I did not set with a powder. I only set my under eye concealer. I used the Tarte Shape Tape and set it with the RCMA No Color Powder. This foundation really set right down to a nice sort of powder finish that didn't seem to need to be set, and I didn't want to make it any drier, so I didn't set it. I think it looks beautiful. The finish is beautiful. I have not had any additional settling into lines, so once I tapped those out, they've been good so far. Overall, I think it looks really, really nice so far. I'm going to go about my day. I will come back with a natural light check-in in a bit, and I'll see you at the end of the night for my final thoughts. Hey guys, daylight check-in here. It has been about 3 hours, and natural light, I think you can see it is a little bit dark on me, just a smidge. I can probably mix it and get a decent color match. Let me zoom you guys in, or try to anyway, and show you it's already starting to break down around my mouth, like separating at my wrinkle lines, and the same around my chin, which is not good. Let's see here. Can you see? So that is happening. The one thing I would say that is good so far, I did drip a bunch of Alfredo sauce on my chin as I was eating dinner, and the claims of it being transfer proof, I just blotted it off, and I mean, you can tell a little bit's missing, but it's not too bad. So thumbs up for being Alfredo proof. And little worried about where we're going with this breaking up around my wrinkles. So I will be back at the end of the night with a final check-in. Alright, it is 11:10 p.m. That puts us just past the 8-hour mark. And first up, let's talk about how this foundation feels. For a matte foundation that is really not intended for dry skin or dry voices, it feels all right. It's starting to get just a tiny bit itchy, a little bit tight on my face. Nothing out of the ordinary for a matte foundation like this on my dry skin. I think if you have dry skin, it's possible that this will work for you if you're okay with tolerating just that little bit of sensation of dryness by the end of the evening. It's not terrible. I would totally wear this again in that regard. Let's take a look up close at how it looks. Now, it is wearing away around my nostrils and around my chin. Those are 2 areas I typically have trouble with foundations wearing away. It looks decent in most places. Like, my forehead still looks nice, my cheeks still look nice, I can still see my bronzer, my blush, my highlight, but around my mouth, it is breaking apart around my deeper lines. And the same thing is sort of happening on my forehead. Anywhere I've got deeper lines, it's sort of breaking apart and emphasizing those lines. It's not settling into pores. It did not additionally settle into any of my lines, but to the extent that it did settle, which was pretty minor, but still a little bit, it didn't get worse, but it wasn't great to begin with. It did sort of cake up around my couple of blemishes that I've got and sort of broke up around those areas. So if you have mature skin, I'm thinking this is probably not going to work for you. I'm probably a borderline case in terms of it working for me, because I do feel like it's accentuating lines that I don't really want accentuated. Like this little line I've got on the side of my mouth. I was watching Grey's Anatomy the other day and thinking to myself, I have the same wrinkle as Ellen Pompeo. Like, I have the same wrinkle as Dr. Grey. Because it's this little line right at the bottom corner of my mouth. And the two of us do a similar sort of, side mouth thing. And I think that's what caused that wrinkle. So I have the same wrinkle as Dr. Grey. This is accentuating fine lines and wrinkles, and I think if you had any more to deal with than I've got, it's not going to work. So I'd say it's a no for mature skin. If you're not dealing with that kind of stuff, I don't think you'll have a problem. If I had to give the Fenty by Rihanna foundation a grade, what would I give it? I'm going to go B-. I think for a matte foundation on dry skin, it is slightly above average in performance. On mature skin, no, that's what kind of knocks it back down. The appearance, it is a beautiful finish. It is an amazing shade range. You probably will find a shade in this line that works for you. It's a decent price point. You get a little over an ounce of product for your price. Yeah, I'm going to go B-. We're going B- for the Fenty by Rihanna. If you would like to see more foundation reviews, let me know what you want to see down below in the comments. I keep a running list. I'll be stocking up again, probably at the next Sephora VIB Rouge sale, but I do have a drawer full. If you follow me on Snapchat, you saw my drawer full of foundations that I have yet to review, so don't worry, Foundation Fix on Fridays is going to keep on coming for a while now. I also do want to do a half and half comparison of this versus the Catrice foundation, because if you watch Stephanie Nicole, it looks like they come out of the same factory and they do look very similar. So keep your eyes peeled. I am going to film that review coming soon as well. Thanks a lot for taking some time out of your day to geek out over makeup with me. I appreciate it, and I hope you guys all have an awesome day or night wherever you are in the world. Breathe. Take care of each other. Bye-bye.